on chapter 51 of Once Upon a Broken Heart. I'm reading it on my Kindle just because I don't know, I've become a Kindle girly, but I only have, oh wow, I only have this much left. I mean, I am 90% through with the book, and honestly, I don't have to work till 6, so I'm gonna finish this and then I'm gonna start the second book. I feel like things happened right now that are pissing me the fuck off because Marisol, like the story is about Evangeline and Marisol. Marisol is like her stepsister, I guess. And Marisol is getting mad at Evangeline for things that, not that she did, but like she did something bad. So then Marisol did something. So Marisol did something bad. And then Evangeline did something. And like Evangeline was like super understanding, like, no, I understand. I know why you did that. And then Evangeline tries to tell Marisol like, oh, I did this. I'm so sorry. And she's like, bitch, no. And I'm like, girl, why are you getting so mad over something that you did? Like, you put into effect this thing. But she's not taking any accountability for that. She's like, you try to do this to me. Girl, I'm like, Marisol, stop it. Stop it. At first, I wasn't convinced about this book. And I know this book series is super, super popular. I was just, not that I wasn't vibing with it, but I'm just like, why do people think this is good? Like, this is not that good. Like, the romance is like whatever. The story, like the plot, like where is she? There's a lot of things going on, but I'm 90% through and I'm like, okay, I already love Stephanie Garber. So like, I feel like even for Caraval, that first series that I read, the second book was my favorite. So I'm really excited to get to the second book and kind of see like where the story goes. The second and third book I think are both shorter than this because this is over 400 pages for the physical book, I think, of the first one. Oh no, it's like sits like right at 403. I think the other ones are like 3 something. I will say one thing Stephanie Garber knows how to do is write tension, and that was what I forgot and like missed from romance books and like reading Caraval and Stephanie Garber's series. Because I'm like, oh, I forgot how much I loved Jax in Caraval. And I know he's supposed to be the villain, but like, I forgot how much I like him. The book is starting to give me like Vampire Diaries vibes, honestly. And I'm kind of loving that. Not that this book is about vampires by any means, but there is a vampire in the story. And it's really giving me Vampire vibes, Vampire Diaries vibes. And I'm just like, y'all know I love Vampire Diaries and I'm watching the original. So anything to do with vampires, Vampire Diaries, the sexiness of it, I'm there. There's some tension in like the third act that I'm like loving. I'm eating it up. And I'm realizing that's what I like about romance. Like, I don't need like super spicy times in my romance books, but the tension, that's what I need. That's what I need, and that's what I love in romance books. And I haven't read a romance or fantasy book in a really long time, I think, or in a while. I don't know. I missed reading tension, I guess I should say. And it was funny because yesterday I went to this Valentine's event and people were asking me about my book. Because I mean, this book is super popular and people were asking me about my book. And I was telling this girl about it and she was like, what? Like, there's so much going on. And then I was also telling the friend I made about it at volunteering. And he was like, I'm intrigued. Like, I'm intrigued by this book. And I'm kind of loving like all the fantastical elements. Because like I said, I don't read fantasy that often. And this is fantasy romance. And I'm kind of like, now I kind of see it. Like, I kind of see why people like to read this. Because they love the fantasy elements. But like the romance, like I'm kind of loving it. And I remember when I used to read Throne of Glass, this was years ago, I loved the idea of like a fantasy book that had a little bit of romance sprinkled in it. It did not need to be the main plot, the romance, but I liked a little bit sprinkled in. And I'm realizing that this kind of book, like this series, perfect. Fantasy with a little romance sprinkled in. And granted, yes, the whole series is about love, I think, and finding your true love and curses and whatnot. But there's a lot of fantastical elements in it, and I'm honestly really loving that. I am 90% through. I'm about to finish this. It says I hope I'm not talking loud because I have my headphones on. It says I have 44 minutes left in the book, which is fantastic. So I'll finish that within the hour because it's 12:26. I've also been listening to the Spotify playlist called Reading Romantasy Instrumental, and I guess I'll put it right here too, but it's called Reading Romantasy Instrumental, and I'm kind of loving it. I'm loving it because it also has a lot of Bridgerton songs on it, and we know that like Bridgerton takes popular music and has versions of like the string quartet versions of them, and I think it's awesome. And there's one, Diamonds, the one I'm listening to right now, it's literally from the Bridgerton soundtrack, and it's clearly Rihanna's Diamonds, but it's string quartet, and it's just adding so much to my like fantasy reading. I'm loving right now. I knew it. I knew it. Oh, wow. What a turn of events that just happened right now. Sometimes I feel like Evangeline is so oblivious. Like, I'm figuring out things before her. Like, girl, once you saw this man, you should have known who it was and why he was there. Oh my God. Oh God. Things are happening. Things are happening. I'm on chapter 9. Things are happening. I'm already 18% in. Page 68. This book is flying. Things are happening and people are showing up. People are waking up. I don't know. Okay. Jax is like a really toxic ex that you like can't let go of. And Evangeline writes this letter at the beginning of book 2 to herself, basically saying, do not trust this person. And we already know from Caraval that like Jax can't be trusted, but like she writes this letter to herself, and I feel like we've all been there, where she writes this letter saying, do not trust this person. It doesn't matter how beautiful he is, how beautiful his eyes are, the shine of his hair, whatever he says, do not trust him, and just remember all these things when you want to work with him again. Because that's the whole thing of the fates. Like, she'll be drawn to him no matter what because of the deal that they made at the beginning of book 1. Her writing that letter to herself was so real. Girl, I've been there. Written a letter to yourself to remind yourself, do not go back to this person no matter what. And I'm like, that was the most real thing that she's done in this whole book. Like, oh God. Jax is like, it's like he will not leave her alone, which I get it. Like, that's the whole point of the story. But it's like you want to like him because he's like this villain, and this stuff, like, there's a moments where you think, oh, maybe he does like have more feelings for Evangeline, but it's like, but then he does dumb shit and he does shady shit. So it's like you literally cannot trust him whatsoever. Things are not going well for Evangeline. Things are not going well. I feel like it's much later in the night than it normally is. I'm here to update you on The Ballad of Never After. I just turned that on. I am almost done and I'm gonna finish it tonight. It's like 11 something. It's 11:48. Wow, it took me a long time. I went to my friend's show. They are in a band and called the Bum Babies, and I have seen them perform twice. They ended up doing music for this, I don't even know. So it's a queer retelling of Shakespeare's Measure for Measure. And I love all things Shakespeare, and I missed like the first time that they performed this because I was gonna go and then it sold out. I was gonna go after work and I was gonna kind of see how I felt, and then I didn't know if I needed a ticket or not. And I guess I did, and it sold out. I was like getting on the train the first time, and when I found out that it had sold out. So that sucked. But my friend, she was like, I actually think you'd really like it. So they did it again. They have 2 more shows tonight, and then they have one on Wednesday, and they do the background music for this play. Like it's a play. It's measure for measure. They're speaking Old English, like Shakespearean English, and it's interspersed with like the music from the Bum Babies, which is cool because, or the Bum Babes, Bum Babies. I'm like, is it Bum Babies or Bum Babes? The Bum Babies. Let me see. Yes, the Bum Babies. Yeah, so I did Measure for Measure tonight, and then they'll do it Wednesday at Purgatory. It's super awesome, and I loved it. It's so cool. Like I said, I love anything Shakespeare. So I went to see that, and before that I went to the movies because it's Movie Monday, obviously. And I actually saw the Oscar-nominated documentary Shorts, but Ballad of Never After. I think this series, I'm so torn because I love Stephanie Garber, and I kind of want to read Caraval again, even though I'm not going to because there's so many other books I want to read. But I love Caraval, and I'm not loving this series, if I'm being honest. I'm not loving it as much as I wanted to. I like this. There's just so much going on. We've come to, it's very out of context if you haven't read the book, but we've come to this kind of like needing to find some stones, and it's giving Avengers. Like I feel like I'm reading Avengers, them trying to look for the stones, and I'm just like, what is this? I have such mixed feelings on Jax, and I think that's like kind of the point, because he is such a villain, and he says these things like, I don't want anything to do with you, and this and that, and it's just like, I don't know, he says these things in one moment where you're like, oh, that was sexy, and then the next moment you're like, oh wait, you're a douchebag. And it's such a hard line to navigate because you hate him, because it's supposed to be a romance, but it's not really a romance in my opinion. I don't think book 2 is like a romance compared to book 1. I feel like it's trying to have Jax and like Evangeline be, you know, have this kind of like love-hate relationship, lustful kind of like, oh, forbidden kind of thing. And I'm like, no. I don't know why. I'm just like, no, that's not. Jax, he doesn't really give me the vibe that he even really likes her like that. Like, I just think it's all lust for him. I don't think, I'm not saying that they're hooking up or anything, because they're not. It just feels lusty. But anyway, it doesn't feel real. It all just feels fake, like there's some curse or some whatever. So I don't know, I'm 89% through. My goal is to finish this today. I'm on page 311 of 350. So I have 39 pages to go, I think. Yeah, 39 pages to go. So I should be able to finish this fairly quickly. And my goal is to finish this, and I will be starting the next book. I'm just gonna finish the series. I'm just gonna binge the whole series because I'm enjoying this idea of binging, and I need to see like if they're gonna accomplish what they've been set out, what this whole freaking book has been about. Like I need to see if they're gonna accomplish it, and I have a feeling it's gonna bleed into the next book. And I have a feeling based on the title of the next book of what's gonna happen with Jax and these stones. And yeah, I don't know, based on the title and based on what I know, I do think some interesting things are gonna happen. And I do think we're gonna get some more Caraval crossovers. So I'm excited for that. I might have been wrong. I might have been wrong about Jax, and I might have been wrong about what the next book is gonna be about. Jax just did something that I was not expecting. Well, I mean, I wasn't really expecting the ending of that book, but I wasn't expecting him to do what he did. Maybe I'm wrong about him. I don't know. I don't know if I'm wrong about him or not, but I do feel like I'm wrong about what the next book is going to be about. That's for sure. Because it's boring. I'm like literally 96% in, but because I'm it has been a couple of days. I finally started A Curse for True Love, which is the last book in the, I don't even know what this is called. Like, I don't even remember what the first book is called. That's so sad. Once Upon a Broken Heart trilogy. This is the actual physical book. I'm reading it on my Kindle though, because that's been my vibe lately, Kindle. It says that I'm 60% through, page 272 out of 450 on my Kindle. What chapter is it in? It says I'm on chapter 29, so let's see in the book. And okay, the thing about the third one is like we get, oh yeah, chapter 29. So I'm like this far in the book. I have this much left. This is exactly how far. This is 232. So the page count on the Kindle and the page count on the book are a little different, but I'm definitely, all I have is this. So my goal is to finish it between tonight and tomorrow. I drank coffee pretty late, so who knows when I'm gonna go to sleep, but I got like a bunch of snacks because I'm in a snacking mood and I just want to finish this. Can I be honest real quick? Like, what the fuck is going on in book 3? Obviously I can't say much because I can't spoil it, but what is this? Like, what is this book? It's so random and it's definitely not going in the direction that I thought it was going to go in. I think I had mentioned last time that I kind of knew, or I had an idea of where it was going to go based on the title. I was wrong. I was completely wrong. This is going in a different direction. I thought based on the title we'd see more characters from Caraval. Like, for some reason I thought we'd see Donatello again, but we don't. And I thought we did. We're getting in this one character chapter heads, which is not normally, like the other two books are not like that. But most of the chapters are from Evangeline's point of view. So in my opinion, like they're kind of like unneeded because they're from her point of view. Most of them are from her point of view. So you get her point of view, Apollo, and Jax at this point, I guess. There's just so much happening that it's like not hard, it's kind of hard for me to keep up. I also, like I said, it's going in a direction where I was like, what? And they just introduced one of the tropes that I could care less about. And it makes me so sad because people love this series so much and I just think it's kind of mid. I don't know why. I don't know if it's where I am in my reading journey. I have no idea. But my goal is to finish this between today and tomorrow. I'm gonna read as much as I can tonight. I think, like I said, I'm like 60%. I'm gonna read as much as possible tonight. It's weird, like, not that it's not a romance, because it is, but like I kind of don't feel like it is because there's no real like romance in the book. We never get to see, like, it's kind of a love triangle in a way, but also I feel like we never get to see Evangeline just like be in a romance with anybody. I feel like there's some longing involved from her. For some reason it doesn't feel real because, you know, Jax is like a fate, so he could, so that's the whole thing. One, in book 1 she made a deal with him, so she's always going to be drawn to him, and he's a fate, so like people are just drawn to him. So it's like what's real versus what's like him being a fate. But just don't know if Evangeline really feels like real emotions for him. And we all know his whole thing is that his kisses are like fatal. So if he kisses someone and they're not his true love, that person will die. And if you've, I'm not going to spoil anything for Caraval, but there's something that happens with him and Caraval, and like, and so obviously like the romance between him and Evangeline, like it's like a can't be, it's like a forbidden. But there's part of me that's like, just kiss. And I know I don't want her to die, but like I'm like, just kiss and see. I mean, the risk is too big, obviously, but I'm like, just kiss and see. Even though I know that makes absolutely no sense, because if she's not his true love, then she will die. I just want it to be over. Like, just kiss and see and we'll move on. That's not a good sign. That's not a good sign to me. Okay, so it's no secret that this is a romance. She's claiming she's in love with him. I don't feel like this is a spoiler. If you read romance, like, you know what's gonna happen. Evangeline's claiming she's in love with him, but in my brain I'm like, why? He's been nothing but horrible. Nothing but horrible. Why would you be in love with this man? Please tell me. I don't get it. I don't get it. I'm here to wrap up this reading vlog video. The last 3 days, whoo, the depression has taken me out. One thing I did do was finish the Once Upon a Broken Heart series, and I was reading A Curse for True Love, and I finally finished. And I'm sad to say that like I didn't love this series. And it was funny because I was talking to my coworker about it today, because he was like, what are you reading? And I'm like, well, I just finished this like romantasy, like YA romantasy, because I don't know why I'm in like a fantasy kind of mood, and romantasy, I don't know, I just had this urge to pick this one up. And so I guess I'm not really in a mood for anything. I just had an urge to pick. Oh no, my friend picked this one for me. That's right. And I just literally like started the first one and I was like, well, I have to finish the series. I think it took me a week and a half, 2 weeks, maybe, because I was just getting through them. I feel like Ballad of Never After took me like 3 days. I didn't realize how quickly I had read that one because I was reading this one on Valentine's Day. And today, last Friday was, wait, today's the 22nd, 14th. Oh wow, I read this series in a week. Like a little over a week because I was reading this on Valentine's Day. Oh wow. Oh shit. I didn't realize I read this series so fast. I guess when I read, I guess when I devote time to reading. Yeah. Anyway, I gave the last book 2.5 stars. I give the series as a whole as 3 stars because, you know, the moral of the story is love. And you would think that, like, it was so funny because I told my coworker, I was like, I feel like, I don't know what's wrong with me. Like, I don't know if I'm in this stage where I'm like a heartless bitch right now. And he was like, yeah, you don't seem like the type of person to give heartless bitch, like, at all. That's definitely, I don't think that's you. So maybe it's not, maybe you, it's something else. But he's like, yeah, you don't give that at all. And I was like, oh, thank you. I feel like, you know, without spoiling too much, the moral, I mean, this is a romance. It's supposed to be a romance. But I just didn't, like, I guess for me, I didn't actually feel that much romance between Jax and Evangeline. And until like maybe the very end, but like the way she was acting towards Jax, I was like, girl, stand up because he hasn't, to me, like he hadn't done anything for her to like even love him or be in love with him. And I'm just like, what? Like, I just didn't understand how we got from like point A to point B because I was like, okay, he's a fate. So people are drawn to him. So of course she's drawn to him. And it was just like a kind of love conquers all thing. And while I am a person who loves the idea of love, am a hopeless romantic, I was like, I found myself rolling my eyes when she was talking about love. And I was like, oh no, this is not a good sign because bitch, I love a good romance and I love good banter and I love a good friends to lovers. I love a good enemies to lovers. I love a good romance in all its tropes, except age gap. But I love a good romance and I love a good fantasy romance. And so, I don't know, I just didn't vibe with this series. And that makes me so sad because I love Caraval. Like, I loved Caraval when I read it. And I, again, probably in a different headspace than I am now. But I don't think it was a bad series. I just think I just didn't vibe with it as much as I wanted to. And that makes me so sad because I love Caraval. And I love Stephanie Garber. She's literally the sweetest human I've ever met. And so that makes me sad that I didn't vibe with this series. But I'm glad I read it. There was so much going on too. Because I was trying to explain to my coworker literally like what the book is about. And I was spoiling things for him obviously because he's never going to read it. But I was trying to explain to him and he was like, whoa, hold up. Wait a second. There's this and this. And like even trying to explain it, I was like, yeah, there's a lot going on. There's a lot going on that literally my brain, I was like, what is happening here? Who is who? What family is this? How did we get here? What portals did we go through? I was like, oh my God, there's a lot going on in here. And that was a little bit like, I was just like, where are we? Whose point of view am I reading from? Like, it was a lot. There's a lot going on. I would say 3 stars for the series. I'm glad it's done. I'm glad that I finished it. I didn't realize I read it so fast because I was reading on my Kindle. And it makes sense though because like the font is humongo in all the books. And now I can move on. I actually want to read Spectacular, which is like the Caraval novella. If you made it this far in the video, thank you as always. And I know it's been a second since I've posted, but life has just been lifing and I've just been trying to figure out an actual schedule with work. I'm actually about to change positions at my job. So I feel like things are gonna get even more, not hectic, but I feel like I'm gonna get even less sleep than I do now. And all I wanna do normally is sleep. So my life is about to change a little bit, I think. So we'll see how that goes. But let's hope the depression doesn't take me out tomorrow. Cause I can't deal with it. Like I can't do it. Like I need to continue on with my life basically. And I started to feel a little bit better in the afternoon today. I took a shower, I did my skincare, and I like did some work on my computer that I need to do. And so I'm hoping tomorrow will be a better day and I'm gonna end this vlog here. So again, if you made it this far, thank you. And until next time, bye.